Sharks are on 22, Raiders 22, Titans. If Titans win by 12 and Sharks win... Welcome back to Rugby League Outlaws. Another fantastic weekend of Rugby League. The penultimate round before the final series. And unlike last year, we have a live last round of games. Last year, of course, the Sharks ended the Warriors season with 3 weeks to go, completely ruining the finals chase, to be honest. But this weekend, we have up to, all 8 games count, of course. We have 4 games that really, really matter when it comes to final spots. I racked my brain. I can't do it. This is well beyond my pay grade. Victoria, who's going to come 4th and who's going to come 8th?
While I'm still riding the high of Parramatta beating the Melbourne Storm for the second time this year, I actually have the Thursday night game for this week to define the top 8. Basically, my wild card is that the Raiders are going to beat the Roosters, which will confirm Manly in the top 4 finish because, let's be real, there's no chance in hell Parramatta are beating Penrith. They can't beat the Storm and then Penrith. It's just impossible, especially because Clint Gutherson's out, so, it's a write-off. So Manly will finish top 4. I've got them 4th place. I've got the Storm securing the minor premiership. Penrith. But then that means I've got the Raiders coming in at 8th because I don't see the Sharks beating Melbourne. Sorry, guys. And I just don't know about the Titans and the Warriors. I could actually see the Warriors beating the Titans, because that's the way it is. And for me, I've just got the Raiders in red hot form. So that's how I've got it. Minor premiership, Melbourne, 4th, Manly, 8th, the Raiders slide in. Let's see what happens.
Just like to remind everyone that Victoria does not speak for me and Terry. This weekend, Supercoach Grand Final time. We got 4 big Grand Finals coming up. Look, truthfully, I don't know who half the people that entered are, so you're going to have to contact me on Twitter at SuthoDan, or you can contact Terry too if you must. Let us know if you're in the Grand Final. Best of luck to everyone, except my opponent. Rugby League Outlaws Cup will see the great SuthoDan and his young Matt Moylans take on, I don't even care, it's an easy victory. I'm going to get a shirt. Hooray for me. But guys, seriously, if you're in the Grand Final this weekend, hit me up on Twitter, let me know. I'm really excited. I'm going to watch on. Winners, of course, will get the exclusive Rugby League Outlaws prize packs, whereas the losers will get taunted and booed until my throat is sore. Terry.
Talk to me, Dan.
I hear you're also in a grand final.
Yeah, look, we said that we were the Supercoach Kings, and it's proven that by you finishing in the top 8 and getting into the final. And, I felt that both of us couldn't be in that same category, so I dropped down to the bottom 8 and got into the final as well. I'm playing against Rich Ossington, so obviously we know he's gone and thrown his money around to Supercoach and he's going to get a 150-point head start. But look, we're elites at Supercoach, we're elites at tipping, we're elites at making people money left, right, and centre. So you just got to follow us. You've just got to listen to us and jump onto our teams because we're just killing it at the moment.
Of course, with the last weekend of football comes the very real chance that players are going to be rested as teams look to the final series. Look, there's going to be teams that are going to be, at advantage by this, possibly Cronulla, which is pretty fun. There's going to be teams, of course, that are disadvantaged by this. Look, in all honesty, if you're relying on results to go your way in the last round, you've had 25 rounds to get it right, so you can't really complain. Look, I want to go back to last year. Cronulla were playing a Canberra side that was a reserve grade team. We got rinsed in front of our own fans and absolutely ruined our momentum going into the finals. Look, games are going to be won by, we've already seen the Melbourne reserves belt teams by 40 points during the Origin time. So ultimately, if your season comes down to needing results to go your way and it ends at the hands of Cronulla beating an understrength Melbourne, well, that's just too bad, I'm afraid. Stat attack time. Do you know that Newcastle have not lost a game since Mitchell Pearce and Jake Clifford became the halves pairing? Can they go deep in the finals with that halves pairing? No. Second rhetorical question time. Are the Melbourne Storm done? They've lost to Parramatta twice, which in itself is an embarrassment. They've already conceded that they can't beat Cronulla and they're going to rest players this weekend. Are they done? No. And anyone who suggests that they are needs to stop watching the game immediately. One game does not define a season, especially when you're coming off 19 straight victories. I have to stop hanging out on social media.
Dan, the weekend for streaks, they all came to an end except for St George Illawarra. Their losing streak continues. They lost to the Cowboys. They were comfortable in this game, up 22-10 at halftime or 20-10 at halftime. Only some extraordinary goal kicking from Zach Lomax hitting the upright 3 times, the same upright in the same place 3 times in one half, stopped it from being 24-10 at halftime. But straight after halftime, whatever Hook said didn't work because the Cowboys just came out and ambushed him. It was a fantastic game from Tom Dearden, backed up by the fact that I had him on my bench for Supercoach this week, and a great player of difference there from me. But you know, the Cowboys, they've slowly been building to this win, and you know, obviously you've got to beat these teams to get some confidence coming in, but there's not a hell of a lot to look forward to for the Cowboys because Chad Townsend's there next year. They don't have a good forward pack. Francis Molo's leaving. They didn't get Dale Finucane. Todd Payton's under extreme pressure at the moment. The Cowboys are, you know, probably about 3 or 4 years away from getting back to the level that they should be, but you know, it was a great win for them, and you know, the Dragons now, you know, they've gone from 7th to 12th. You know, they look comfortably into they were comfortable in the finals a couple of weeks ago, and you know, now they're just sliding, and couldn't happen to a better team, to be honest. Dan, let's just talk about the Bulldogs. Look, for all their great recruitment that they're doing, and they're talking about 2022 and how things are going to get better, and you know, they had a great showing against Manly in the first half. You know, obviously up, and you know, some bad calls go against them, but they're just letting themselves down off the field, and it's not the administration, but it's the players. You know, Adam Elliott's, you know, causing some troubles. Lachlan Lewis has got himself in trouble. Both of them won't play again this year. But they haven't done themselves any favours. They've gone and got themselves some guys who are repeat offenders. And it's just showing that the Bulldogs, again, you know, they're going out and throwing their money around left, right and centre, but they're not getting guys who are going to be good cultural pieces. Yes, they're good footballers, but they're still going to have these same issues time and time again. And for mine, it's alarming for the Dogs. I think it's great that they've gone and got Gus Gould to go in there and sort of turn things around for him. But you know, they've got a lot more to turn around. I don't think it's going to be as smooth as sailing for the Dogs. They're definitely going to progress next year, and they won't be the wooden spooners, but they really need to turn that back into being the family club, the club that everyone wants to go to, not just going there for a paycheck. And if you've got a checkered past, they're still going to take a punt on you anyway.
Big news, of course, coming out of this week was the Latrell hit on Joey Manu on Friday night. Look, those that saw the tackle, it was atrocious. It was a dead set send-off. Graham Annesley's come out and admitted as much. Referee got it wrong. Henry Perinara really got it wrong. Latrell, you know, tried to take his head clean off with a shoulder. I don't care whether or not he was falling. The fact is he was still standing and he got hit around the head. It's a send-off, and of course it's 6 weeks, especially with priors. Look, no one is suggesting that this was on purpose. It wasn't. You saw the tackle. He tried to make a big hit, connected with the head. Simply put, that's the risk you run when you try and make these big hits. Joey Manu's season's ended. He looked terrible. He was visibly upset, which was very hard to watch as a fan. And look, I don't support either of these two teams, but I'll tell you what, that was very hard to witness. Look, Latrell deserves the 6 weeks. I said last week that the difference between South this year and last year is Latrell Mitchell. Well, that's out the window now, and I think South Sydney, in terms of premiers, are absolutely gone. Look, it's a moment of madness. They're going to look back on at the end of the season and say what could have been. They got the game to worry the big teams. If they get it right, there's very few that can score as many points as South. You know, you got Alex Johnson scoring hat-tricks for fun out wide. It's a real shame. It is what it is. It was a correct decision in the end. It's an absolute shame to see Joey Manu done for the season. Look, I've been very forward in hoping that he comes to Cronulla in the future. Obviously, I still do. Rest up, get better. Latrell, learn from this. South Sydney fans.
What's annoying Terry?
What's annoying Terry this week? Trent Robinson obviously watched this and jumped on my What's Annoying Terry of last week from Henry Perinara, and now he's getting all the credit for it. I said it last week that Henry Perinara was an incompetent official and should not be in the box, and now Trent Robinson says it and everyone wants to praise him. Where's my praise? That's what's annoying Terry.
Favourite time of the week. Legitimately this time to fill some black, white and blue.
Dan, look, we're in a precarious situation where we are playing the Melbourne Storm in round 25. Our rivals of old, I don't think they're really our rivals that much anymore because, we're slip sliding and they're still up in the top two. But it's a game that, we used to pencil in and we hated the Storm. And, it's really hard to hate the Storm this year at the moment. They're one of the best teams to watch. In the press conference, Craig Bellamy said that he'll be resting, over 10 players. Brandon Smith said that, the plan is to stick with that and rest the 10 players. And, Craig Bellamy said you can't carry the minor premiership around at the end of the season. The NRL lets you take a photo with it and then they take it back off you, but you can carry the premiership trophy around. That's always the eyes on the prize for Craig Bellamy. I've read Cameron Smith's book. I've read Billy Slater's book, and they always talk about it doesn't matter where they finish, their end goal is to always win the premiership. He'll be resting some people. Fingers crossed he rests their entire spine, their back line. Josh Addo-Carr's injured. Jesse Bromwich is suspended. Hopefully Kenny has a breather as well. Munster doesn't need to play. Hughes doesn't need to play. You can play Pappenhausen if you want. He's been awful the last couple of weeks. Nico Hines really carried that team. They were scoring loads of points. Rest Nico as well for us. Make sure he's good for 2022. If you don't mind giving Nelson a rest, Tuikama Kamika as well. Just name like the Firehawks or someone. We'll really appreciate that. Get us into the finals. We'll get knocked out anyway, so we're not going to hurt anyone. So, yeah, big ups, Craig. But, if they name their reserve grade side, we've still got a job to do. Canberra did it last year and flogged us. So, we're a different team this year. It's different gravy, but fingers crossed we're in the finals.
Just want to send a hearty congratulations to the boys for a pressure win on the weekend. There were times where it looked like we were in trouble. They got it together and ultimately were good enough. You ask everyone in 12 months' time, how did we play against the Broncos? No one's going to remember. What they are going to remember is the 2 points that hopefully got us to the finals. Great win, all the stars stood up, etc., etc. But in all honesty, it's about this week and this week only. Jesse Ramian will be available. Terry?
Look, I want to talk about Jesse Ramian at the moment and the patch of form that he finds himself in. He's smashing people left, right and centre. He's breaking tackles. He scored a nice try on the weekend. Great composure to keep a hold of that ball and ground it. Look, very lucky not to be suspended. He had prior form. I actually missed the incident. You blink and you missed it, and the referee told him he was on report. I went back and watched the replay of it to see what it was. He did hit Herbie Farnworth. I think the good thing for him is he went over his back and sort of clocked him around that shoulder and neck area and not in the face. So, with priors, I thought he was going to get charged and miss a week, but, he's been fine. But let's talk about the beast mode that he's in at the moment. He's averaging in his last 5 games 180 metres and 8 tackle breaks. Probably the one criticism of Jesse Ramian is he positions his winger really well and doesn't pass him the ball. So we've got an elite centre on our hands. If we give him an early ball and he can learn to position his winger, the form that he's in at the moment should have every Sharks fan excited. We've actually got someone who can not only help us in our yardage, but help us real close to the try line as well. Because anytime he gets the ball, there's 2 and 3 people there jumping around him to make sure that, 1, he doesn't offload, and 2, he's not getting across the try line. I just want to give a shout out to Herbie Farnworth for falling for the worst dummy on the planet. Word is Herbie's still running down Caxton Street at the moment looking for the ball. So, fingers crossed Jesse takes this momentum that he's got now, gets us into the finals, and works his ass off next year under Craig Fitzgibbon.
Last few weeks, we've seen incredible performances from young Metcalf and Trindle. Both are just playing well beyond their years and experience, to be totally honest. But I think it's pretty obvious we need Matt Moylan to start this weekend. The season's literally on the line. We can make finals if we lose, but then we need the Warriors, who are disinterested, to do us a favour against the Titans. Just win. Honestly, the best route to victory is play Matt Moylan. Start Matt Moylan, rather. He came on the other day and completely changed the game. Brisbane were all over us. Moylan took, complete control. He bodied Payne Haas one-on-one. If he lets Haas score that try, Brisbane roll over the top of us, and we're sitting in a very, very negative situation right now. He's looking fit, he's looking fast, he's taken on the line. His kicking game needs a little bit of help. That one that went backwards, that reminds me of the Chad Townsend days. But, Trindle's got to take the kicking. Moylan's just got to run and control. I think Moylan plays this weekend. The Storm are going to name a team that's not going to be their starting 13. I think we'll win this game. It'll come down to Moyser, though. Trindle just kick. Put Metcalf on the bench, bring him on. Try some defenders, boom, straight through the middle. Play him at 9 if you have to. Put him in the centres, whatever. Just Moylan's got to play 80 minutes. Look, we can beat the Melbourne Storm by 50 points this weekend. And in all honesty, it's not going to matter unless we tighten up that middle defence. The last 2 weeks, we've been very, very soft up the middle, as we have all season, but it's really become noticeable. Look, every time Aaron Woods makes a tackle and ambles to dummy half, ding, 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 alarm bells. We've had some reserve-grade quality hookers. Let's call a spade a spade. Carve us up the middle the last few weeks. They've scored some weak-as tries. They've put way too much pressure on the other forwards that are tracking across. The halves are making too many tackles coming in. Look, we need Woods, Tolman, Toby, Ueli. All of them have to play out of their skin in the next, hopefully 3 or 4 weeks. Let's be honest, most likely 2 weeks to put us in with a shot. The Parramatta are more than likely going to finish 5th. If everything goes the way it is, and of course we still have to get there, so let's focus purely on the Storm game before we look forward. Parramatta's the best draw we can hope for, puts us in the best spot. But again, they got the forwards, they got the hooker, they got the halves, and they got the fullback, if Gutho pulls up okay, to carve us up the middle. Even Josh Hannay's got to be able to see that the middle's the issue. Let's tighten it up, boys, and let's lift another trophy.
It's time for some top sport tips, Dan. I don't know if anyone followed us, but again, we nailed some try scorers. We got the margins right. I think the only game we got wrong this week was Melbourne versus Parramatta, but we're human. So let's crack on with the games. First one we have Raiders versus Roosters. Look, this is a game the Raiders really need to win to keep their season alive. They're playing on hard at the moment. They're coming up against a team who are under the pump, injuries, suspensions, whatever. Look, Trent Robinson's done a great job to get them to where they are. The Roosters need to win this to try and finish as high up on the ladder as you can. Obviously, if you're 5th, you're going to be playing against, the Sharks or the Titans if they win this game. I think they can win this game. I think, they've got to keep it simple. That game against the Rabbitohs on the weekend, the Rabbitohs are class. They're a class outfit on the rugby league field. I think the Roosters can get the Raiders and put an end to their season, and I don't think you're going to see Trent Robinson rest too many players here. I'm going to pick the Roosters in an upset on this one, 1-12, and Daniel Tupou is going to go mental. He's been a bit quiet recently, but old Dan's going to score some tries this week.
Thanks, Terry. Next up, of course, we have the Sharks and the Storm kicking off your Friday night football. What a game. Everything's on the line for Cronulla. They win big. They're in the finals, regardless of what happens elsewhere. Of course, we'll know the night before whether or not Canberra have beaten the Roosters. Even if they do, it doesn't matter. Look, the Storm are going to name a side that's under strength, whether it's 1 or 2 players or, as suggested, up to 10. They don't care about the minor premiership. It's not important to Craig Bellamy. They've got a closet full of those. Some were taken off, but they get to keep some. This is everything to Cronulla. We have to beat whatever team the Storm put out, whether it's full strength, half strength, or the reserve side. Doesn't matter. Cronulla have got it all to play for. The Storm are in there to not get injured, which says to me Melbourne will flog us.
Eels versus Panthers, round 25, delivering the goods here. Look, the Eels come out and shocked the world by stopping Melbourne's winning streak. Probably stop the Storm having any chance at the minor premiership now because they're going to continue with their trend and rest players. The Panthers beat the Tigers as we expected them to do, and they are now one step away from getting the minor premiership. We don't know what Ivan Cleary is going to do in terms of resting players. And I don't know if you will. Nathan might get a rest, but they're still going to have Jerome Luai, Tyrone Mayes back in there as well. I think some guys on the fringe of their, seeing what they can do to help them in the finals will get a game this week. I don't know if the Eels will be able to match them. They definitely out-enthused the Storm, but Clint Gutherson's got a little bit of an injury concern as well. They need to win this to try and stay in the top 4. I'm going to pick the Panthers 1-12. This is going to be an absolutely cracking game. Mitch Moses is going to bounce back from his man of the match performance against Melbourne, and he's going to have another fantastic effort against the Panthers, but it's not going to be enough. I'm going Panthers 1-12.
Next up, we got the Broncos and the Knights. Should be a good game. Of course, there's no finals bearings in terms of the result here. Newcastle are going to finish 7th. They can't finish higher or lower. Brisbane have avoided the wooden spoon, won't play finals footy. Look, I'll be surprised if Newcastle run a full-strength side out. They'd be silly not to rest Ponga, possibly Clifford and a couple of the forwards. Look, I think Brisbane might get this game because it doesn't matter to Newcastle. Brisbane have got some superstars coming in next year. They need a win in front of their fans. Broncos 1-12. I wouldn't worry too much, Newcastle fans. You've done the job over the last few weeks, and it's all about the finals.
Cowboys versus Manly. Look, as we said, the Cowboys have been building along the weeks. They've had some absolutely shocking performances, but then they've had some great performances as well, and been unlucky to lose. They've got their win over the Dragons. They'd be sitting there high-fiving, then realising they've got to play Manly. Tom Trbojevic, after the Dogs game, confirmed that he'd be playing because they want to get in the top 4. They want 2 bites of the cherry. Unfortunate for the Cowboys, but, you've got some history being chased by Manly at the moment in terms of point scoring, in terms of try scorers. I'm going to pick Manly to win this game comfortably, 13+. Turbo's going to have an absolutely sensational game. And Ruben Garrick, really quiet on the weekend, back in for first try scorer and 2 during the game.
Next up, Bunnies and the Dragons. Look, another game that doesn't really matter in terms of finals footy. The Bunnies are going to finish 3rd. I think technically they can finish 2nd, but that means Penrith are going to lose. They're going to finish 3rd for all intents and purposes. Dragons should have beaten the Cowboys. They had a big lead. They had a Cowboys team that hadn't won in 10 rounds. They lost. Dragons fans, you're not going to win this game either. The Bunnies are going to run out the reserve grade team. They're going to run up 50 points. This is just Science Seal delivered. Bunnies 13+.
Titans versus Warriors. Look, the Warriors season is over. It's done. But what they can do now is they can be disruptive. And I hope they can be disruptive for us in that sense. Look, the Titans, their season's on the line, but they're going to know going into this game whether they can make the finals or not and what they need to do to make the finals. Hopefully it's out of their hands by then. I am going to pick the Titans to win this game, 1-12. It's going to be a close encounter. But I think the Titans have got just a bit too much class in terms of their halves combination and their forward pack as well. One thing Justin Holbrook has to do, though, what he has to do is he has to start David Fifita. You can't bring David Fifita on with 9 minutes to go in the first half in a close game. Start him, get him early ball, get him running at small people close to the line. It's what he does. Help him get you out of the red zone and into good kicking position. Tino needs to fire up as well, but I am going to pick the Titans to win this game 1-12.
And rounding out the competition and the regular season is the blockbuster, the Tigers and the Dogs. Dogs, who cares?
Hey guys, thanks for tuning into another episode of Rugby League Outlaws, brought to you by Punktured Media. We're all doing it tough at the moment, so make sure you like and subscribe. Give all their shows a watch. They've got some really interesting stuff on there at the moment. They're doing some good things, old Punktured Media. Dan and I love it when you jump online and trash us. We don't really like to praise at the moment, so stop that. And as always, Dan.
Almost finals Rugby League, baby.